What's up, guys? I want to talk about cold approach and sales. So, today I wanted to make more sales videos for my brand, but the first thing I was going to do today, like I knew I was going to do cold approaches. And so, the plan was to do 3 hours of cold approaches and 3 hours of sales. And I want to talk more about this in this video about how basically I think cold approach is going to become more important for me. And I want to talk about why that is. And also, I kind of think both will work together. But like, I just want to kind of like explain my story here. So, yeah, I did cold approaches today. And the plan was to do tours of cold approaches, then do like 3-4 hours of shooting content for my brand, talking about sales. And that was the plan, but it didn't really work out. I did the cold approaches and like they failed miserably. I was just walking in the center and was trying to cold approach, but it didn't work. And when I say it didn't work, that is because it didn't feel right? So you could, of course, approach a woman and you could force it like traditional cold approach kind of teaches you to do, whether that's in night game or in day game, they teach you to force the approach. Not all the time, but often, be direct, stop the woman, make sure to be assertive and things like that. And I think that's not wrong if you're starting out. But for me, I've been doing this for, well, on and off for more than 10 years. I've done more than 10,000 cold approaches. So quite a bit of experience. I don't consider myself good at it because, the question is how do you even become good at cold approach? Some people say it's the lay count that counts. Some people say it's the amount of dates you had. I think you could go it that way, but I think that's kind of like a limited way of seeing it, because just because you had sex with like 50 women or more women doesn't necessarily mean, in my eyes, that you are great with women. It just means that you're great at getting sex. Same thing with dates. And so for me, amazing sex is part of it, but I don't necessarily need to have sex with like 1,000 women to feel good with myself. And that's not necessarily me judging people who do want to get a high like count, although maybe a little bit. But for me, it's more like exploring, getting to know myself and understanding for myself like what really makes a great relationship that I feel great in, that I can see that she feels great with me. How can I have like great sex as well? Not necessarily like 1,000 women, but like great sex is part of it, great dates and things like that, but also a great relationship, great connection. Because I think a lot of the culture today is focused, and dating is focused on, you got to make sure the vibe is right. You got to make sure you are funny and things like that. And I think that's okay to an extent. I think that's part of it, but I don't think that's the entire picture. I think things like loyalty, things like an actual relationship, like even if the vibe is not great, that doesn't mean, you shouldn't only have partners in your life that you can joke around and party with. Like, that's not the type of people necessarily that I even want in my life. Sure, maybe sometimes that could be fun, but like I want to, especially at the stage I'm right now, like I want to find a woman. Sure, I want to have great sex and things like that, but I also want her to support me in what I want to make out of this life. And I'm not sure what that is, but I know that I like things like entrepreneurship and things like that. So I want to find a woman that takes care of herself, that's like elegant and things like that, but also it can be serious, it can be a good mother, it can support me in my journey as an entrepreneur and things like that. So character is probably the most important thing for me. Aside from looks, I still think looks are important. But I'm not at a stage where I'm just looking to date the most amount of women. That's not me. And I'm not saying that might not become part of my life at some point. I do think it's fun. But the thing is, I don't want it to become a distraction. And like when I am at the end of my life and I say what I've done with my life, like I've had sex with 100 women, maybe that's kind of cool to look back on. Probably it is. But at the same time, I would feel like maybe I missed out on some things in life, like a family, maybe entrepreneurship. I still think those are important, but at the same time, like I've put so much effort into Cold Approach that I just want it to work out. And I'm definitely not going to quit entrepreneurship. Like things are pretty fucked right now with my money. I guess in terms of like an entrepreneur, it's not because it's always, you never necessarily have stability as an entrepreneur. And I feel like I definitely have learned a lot of skills, but I haven't created a stable business yet. Maybe at some point in the future I will. But for me right now, it's not worth spending 3 years just focused purely on that, because I just can't, like I like the sales, but I can't focus my life on just sales. Like Cold Approach, it's gotta be a part of what I do. Women, relationships, sexuality, dating, even just socializing with people and like having a connection with people. Like sure, sales is like in that direction, but it's not the same thing. Sales is more, you're selling a product, whereas Cold Approach, part of it is about dating, but part of it is also just about how do you become a great person? How do you can get great relationships, great friendships? And I think that's really a big part of what I would say makes people in general feel alive. And especially for me, that's really, really important because I fought so hard for that. And I think I'm going to do more of that. I'm definitely not going to quit entrepreneurship because I can't, like, there is no way for me to do just Cold Approach. Like, there is, what's going to happen? I'm going to probably end up sleeping on people's couches or just like be completely homeless and stuff like that. And I think that's the path that if you focus purely on a Cold Approach, that's the path that it leads you to. And so I don't think that's the right, well, I don't even think it's wrong necessarily, but I don't think it's a very graceful way to live. And I know obviously like people, or most people who have that lifestyle, it's not because they've chosen it, right? It's because they are homeless people, that they have like mental issues and things like that. But yeah, I'm gonna still, entrepreneurship is still probably gonna be the priority in my life because there's just no other way. Like it would be difficult, but I don't give a, like I'm not gonna say I don't give a fuck what happens because that's not true, but I'm willing to sacrifice some things if it's not aligned with my goal. And like I know Cold Approach is a big part of my goal, and so I don't know where that's going to lead me. I think maybe it's probably going to lead me to some trouble as well, but it's also going to lead me to where I want to go and where I know my purpose and passion is. And I know that sounds like kind of weird, like, hey, purpose is not to have sex with women and things like that. And it's definitely true, and it's definitely, some people I think get distracted with that as well. Because I really value women and I really value sexuality. So I don't think sexuality is a wrong goal to have, but lust is a wrong goal to have, right? So it's about distinguishing what is lust and what is sexuality that actually empowers you, and not just you, but also, you don't want to become a disaster to the people around you either. So I think that are going to be things that are important for me to think about moving forward, because I think Cold Approach, the way it has been done, is there's a lot of cool things about it, but I also think there's a lot of wrong things about it. Like if you look at the state of dating, it's not good at the moment for most people. It's getting better since Trump is back a little bit, and like the whole LGBT thing and things like that got a little bit, the whole woke thing got a little bit more normalized now. But it's still not good. And I'm not going to say I'm here to make a big difference to the world in that. If I can help in my own way, that's great, but I just want to focus mainly on my own life as well. And maybe if you guys are watching, I hope maybe this inspires some of you. Like, I know I'm maybe not the most stylish person to look at, because I'm sitting here on the ground, and basically I don't really have much money, and I don't have a family and things like that. Well, not really. So you could probably look at me and say, well, Bert, your life is a failure. Why? And to some extent, I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm not going to disagree with you. But I know that also I am living, I am following my heart, and that's all I got. And that's the most important thing for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you resonate with it a little bit. If not, that's okay. But yeah, I just wanted to share this because I think it's an important part of me, and I wanted to put it out there. So hopefully this doesn't offend anyone, and hopefully you can appreciate that that's me. And I will see you guys later. I hope you have a nice day. Cheers.